Good afternoon. Today we are going to be reading through chapter 24 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. But we're not just going to be reading the words, we're going to be talking about the words. We're going to be stopping and discussing interesting vocabulary words. So, if you are an advanced learner of English, then this is a wonderful way. I see this little dot on here. I'm trying to get rid of it. This is a wonderful way to improve your vocabulary. And we're also doing this live. So if you're watching this live with me, you can ask questions in the chat. What does this mean? What does that mean? I don't understand. If you don't do that, then I'll just stop sometimes and talk about words that I think could be useful for you. Also, when we finish, we've been bringing people in from Discord. So we don't just, when we finish chapter 24, perhaps some people will join us and we will practice some of the vocabulary words that we learned. But the focus will be on pronunciation, intonation, and accentuation. So if you want to improve your accent, we work on that for about an hour after the chapter. So if that's something that you want to do, improve your accent or improve your listening, this also helps you improve your understanding, then stay, because there's a lot more after the chapter is finished. All right, well, let's get started with chapter 24. And Pachu is here. Hello, Pachu. How are you doing? Good morning. Chapter 24. Dr. Seward's Phonograph Diary, spoken by Van Helsing. This to Jonathan Harker. You are to stay with your dear Madam Mina. We shall go to make our search, if I can call it so. For it is not a search but knowing. And we seek confirmation only. But do you stay and take care of her today? This is for your best and most holiest office. This day nothing can find him here. Let me tell you that so you will know that we four know already, for I have told them. His English is weird because he's Dutch. It's a little bit hard to read sometimes. He, our enemy, have gone away. He have gone back to his castle in Transylvania. I know it so well, as if a great hand of fire wrote it on the wall. He have prepared for this in some way, and the last earth box was ready to ship somewheres. For this he took the money. For this he hurry at the last, lest we catch him before the sun go down. And we've talked about that word lest. That's like a signal. 9-volt fan is here. Hello, 9-volt fan. We've talked about that word lest several times. It's like a signal that you put in front of a phrase. And whatever follows it, whatever sentence you put after lest, is something, you name something that you're afraid of. So he hurried at the last, lest we catch him. He was afraid they would catch him. Lest we catch him before the sun go down. It was his last hope, save that he might hide in the tomb, that he think poor Miss Lucy, being as he thought like him, keep open to him. Pachu says, lest afraid. Well, lest doesn't mean afraid, but it's like a word that you put in front of a phrase where you name your fear, where you tell your fear. Take a coat, lest you get cold. Take a coat, because I'm afraid you will get cold. Bring a snack, lest you get hungry. Bring a snack, because I'm afraid you will get hungry. Lest we catch him before the sun go down. It was his last hope, save that he might hide in the tomb, that he think poor Miss Lucy, being as he thought like him, keep open to him. But there was not of time. When that failed, he makes straight for his last resource, his last earthwork. I might say, did I wish double entente. Double entente means double intention, double meaning. Where is it here? What does that? Why is he saying that here? When that fail, he make straight for his last resource, his last earthwork. I might say, did I wish double entente? I don't see what the double meaning is. Maybe I'm just stupid. He's clever. Oh, so clever. He know that his game here was finished, and so he decided to go back home. He find a ship going by the route he claim, and he go in it. Alex is here. Hello, Alex. How are you doing tonight? We go off now to find what ship and whither bound. When we have discovered that, we come back and tell you all. Then we will comfort you and poor Madam Mina with new hope, for it will be hope when you think it over, that all is not lost. This very creature that we pursue, he take hundreds of years to get so far as London, and yet in one day, when we know of the disposal of him, we drive him out. He is finite, though he is powerful to do much harm, and suffers not as we do. But we are strong, each in our purpose, and we are all more strong together. Take heart afresh, dear husband of Madam Mina. This battle is but begun, and in the end we shall win. So sure as that God sits on high to watch over his children. Therefore, be of much comfort till we return. Van Helsing. Jonathan Harker's Journal, 4th of October. When I read to Mina Van Helsing's message in the phonograph, the poor girl brightened up considerably. Already, the certainty that the Count is out of the country has given her comfort, and comfort is strength to her for my own part, now that his horrible danger is not face to face with us. It seems almost impossible to believe it. Even my own terrible experiences in Castle Dracula seem like a long-forgotten dream, here in the crisp autumn air, in the bright sunlight. Alas, how can I disbelieve? In the midst of my thought, my eye fell on the red scar of my poor darling's white forehead. Whilst that lasts, there can be no disbelief. Mina and I fear to be idle. To be idle means to be lazy, to not work, to not be moving when you should be moving. So they say, it says, Mina and I fear to be idle. That means to be afraid to stop moving. They're very nervous, maybe that Dracula will come back, and so they don't like to sit in one place. They're always moving around doing something because they're very nervous. Maybe we'll make idle one of our words today. Whoops. What happened? Mina and I fear to be idle. So we've been all over the diaries again and again. Somehow, although the realities seem greater each time, the pain and the fear seem less. There's something of a guiding purpose, manifest throughout, which is comforting. Mina says that perhaps we are the instruments of ultimate good. Maybe. I shall try to think as she does. We've never spoken to each other yet of the future. It's better to wait till we see the professor and the others after their investigations. The day is running by more quickly than I ever thought a day could run for me again. It is now 3 o'clock. Mina Harker's Journal. 5th of October, 5 p.m. Our meeting for report. Present. Professor Van Helsing, Lord Godalming, Dr. Seward, Mr. Quincy, Morris, Jonathan Harker, Mina Harker. Dr. Van Helsing described what steps were taken during the day to discover on what boat and whither bound Count Dracula made his escape. Dr. Van Helsing described what steps were taken during the day. Oh, I just read that. As I knew that he wanted to get back to Transylvania, I felt sure that he must go by the Danube mouth, or by somewhere in the Black Sea. Pachu has written something whilst subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. So I'm not sure what you're asking, Pachu. Can you try to clarify that? Or by somewhere in the Black Sea, since by that way he come. It was a dreary blank that was before us. Omne ignotum pro magnifico. That's Latin. Let's see if I can. So that would be maybe everything, something very big. I don't know ignotum. Let's see. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to translate that. Omne ignotum pro magnifico. Everything unknown. So that ignotum, that's like ignore, like something that you don't pay attention to or don't see. Everything you ignore is taken as magnificent. The unknown is always seen as greater. And so, with heavy hearts, we start to find what ships leave for the Black Sea last night. He was in a sailing ship, since Madame Mina tell of sails being set. These not so important as to go in your list of the shipping in times. And that's a weird sentence. These not so important as to go in your list of the shipping in times. And so we go, by suggestion of Lord Godalming, to your Lloyd's, where are note of all ships that sail, however so small. There we find only one Black Sea-bound ship go out with the tide. She is the Tsarina Catherine, and she sail from Doolittle's wharf for Varna, and thence to other ports and up the Danube. So, said I, this is the ship whereon is the Count. So off we go to Doolittle's wharf, and there we find a man in an office. From him we inquire of the goings of the Tsarina Catherine. He swear much, and he red face and loud of voice, but he good fellow. Is this Van Helsing again? This is weird English. Oh yeah, okay, this is a story from Van Helsing. So I said, this is the ship whereon the Count is the Count. So off we go to Doolittle's wharf, and there we find in an office. From him we inquire of the goings of the Tsarina Catherine. He wear much, and he red face and loud of voice, but he good fellow all the same. And when Quincy give him something for his pocket, with crackle as he roll it up, and put it in a so small bag, which he have hid deep in his clothing. He's still better fellow and humble servant to us. He come with us um, and ask many men who are rough and hot. These be better fellows too when they have seen no more thirsty. So he's saying he paid the person in charge to get information about this boat that left for the Baltic Sea, and then this man took him to see other men who, probably the people who load the boat, really rough people, and they're not very nice, but suddenly their attitude is improves when he gives them a little bit of money so they can get a drink. These be better fellows too, when they've been no more thirsty. They say much of blood and bloom, and of others which I comprehend not, though I guess what they mean. In the UK they say bloody or bloomin'. Those are kind of uh, not necessarily bad words, but a little bit rough. So he says they say much of blood and bloom, so they're always swearing when they're talking to him, and he doesn't understand it. But nevertheless, they tell us all the things which we want to know. They make known to us among them how last afternoon about 5 o'clock comes a man so hurry, a tall man, thin and pale, with a high nose and teeth so white, and eyes that seem to be burning, that he be all in black, except that he have a hat of straw, which suit not him or the time. So he's wearing a strange hat, and when he says the hat doesn't suit him, that means it doesn't look good on him. It doesn't fit him. It seems strange that he's wearing it, and it also doesn't suit the time. Probably meaning that it's a very, very old hat, maybe a couple of 100 years old. It looks very strange in modern times. Pachi is asking about bloody. That's a very, very common thing in the UK. It's rude. It's just a rude word to put in front of things to intensify what you're saying. It doesn't mean anything. Regina's here. Hello, Regina. Thanks for joining us tonight. That he scatter his money in making quick inquiry as to what ship sails for the Black Sea and for where. She took him to the office and then to the ship, where he will not go aboard, but halt at the shore. Halt means stop, but halt at shore end of gangplank, and ask the captain come to him. The captain come, when told that he will be pay well, and though he swear much at first, he agreed to term. So I think that they didn't want to take him. It was too late. So Dracula offered them a lot of money, and still the captain didn't want to do it, but he did finally accept, even though he didn't want to. He give much talk to captain as to how and where his box is to be placed, but the captain like it not, and swear at him in many tongues, and tell him that if he like he can come and see where it shall be, but he say no, that he come not yet, for that he have much to do. Whereupon the captain tell him that he had better be quick with blood, for that his ship will leave the place of blood, before the turn of the tide with blood. Then the thin man smile and say that of course he must go when he think fit, but he will be surprised if he go quite soon. The captain swear again, polyglot, and the thin man make him bow and thank him, and say that he will so far intrude on his kindness as to come aboard before the sailing. Final the captain, more red than ever, and in more tongues, tell him that he doesn't want no Frenchmen, with bloom upon them, and also with blood in his ship, with blood on her also. And so, after asking where he might purchase ship forms, he departed. The way the professor is speaking is very annoying. I don't understand what he's saying. And he used to speak more clearly, and this is really kind of confusing. Pachi is asking, so don't ask me. I really don't understand the last part of that conversation at all. But uh, Pachi is asking about intrude. Intrude is like, well, let's see. Let's get. It's a common word, but I'm not sure the best way to explain it to you. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT for help. But it means like going somewhere when you're not supposed to be there. You know, other people feel uncomfortable that you're there. Remember, Pachu, yesterday you had someone enter your home, and nobody seemed happy about that. You would say that he was intruding. He was coming into a place where he wasn't welcome to be. Let's see how ChatGPT defines it. Unwanted entry. Entering physically or metaphorically where one is not welcome. Yeah, so disruption, causing a disturbance or inconvenience by being somewhere inappropriate. A forceful presence, inserting oneself in something without consent or invitation. Well, maybe we'll make that one of our words. Intrude. No one knew where he went, or Bloomin' well cared. So Bloomin', you know, that word bloody or Bloomin' is like a substitution word for a stronger, more offensive word, like the F word. That's all it is, really. As they said, for they had something else to think of. Well, with blood again. For it soon became apparent to all that the Tsarina Catherine would not sail as was expected. A thin mist began to creep up from the river. We've seen the word creeping before. That's like something moving very slowly. Well, you know that there are bad words, Pachu, in English. Are you familiar with all the bad words in in English? So you can say, "Oh, fuck." Well, we wouldn't say. I could say, "Oh, fudge." That's what people say instead. I'm not going to swear on YouTube. I don't want to get in trouble. But it's that word. We call it the F word when we don't want to say it. But you can say fudge. Oh, fudge. Fudge is like chocolate. So instead of saying, I don't know where the effing box is, they say, I don't know where the bloomin' box is, or I don't know where the bloody box is. It's less offensive. It's still offensive. It's still not nice. But it's much nicer than saying the F word. A thin mist began to creep up from the river, and it grew and grew, till soon a dense fog enveloped the ship and all around her. The captain swore polyglot, very polyglot, polyglot with bloom and blood. But he could do nothing. The water rose and rose, and he began to fear that he would lose the tide altogether. He was in no friendly mood, when just at full tide the thin man came up the gangplank again and asked to see where his box had been stowed. Stowed is like another word for stored or put. Then the captain replied that he wished that he and his box, old and with much bloom and blood, were in hell. The captain is a very unpleasant man. But the thin man did not be offended, and went down with the mate and saw where it was placed, and came up and stood a while on the deck in the fog. He must have come off by himself, for none notice him. Indeed, they thought not of him, for soon the fog began to melt away, and all was clear again. My friends of the thirst and the language that was of bloom and blood laughed, as they told how the captain swears exceeded even the usual polyglot. Pachi says stowed, put. Well, put for storage. I mean, I think that those words are probably related. Stowed, stored. It's the same. I think it's pretty much the same word. It's really like stow. But if you're using it like a verb to stow something, you're putting something somewhere to store it. Actually, what happens if we look at a picture of to stow? By the way, sailors are famous for swearing, saying bad words. So people will say, oh, he swears like a sailor. Oh, this is not getting very weird pictures if I put stow. What if we say stowage? No, there really aren't any very good pictures. Well, here, if I put stowage, the kind of pictures that we would get are of a ship. Because a ship that carries things from one place to another place, they have great big areas where they'll put all of the things that they're moving from one country to another country or one place to another place. And that's the stowage area. It's just like saying store to store something, but you pronounce the R like a W, like a baby. That's how a baby would say storage. They would say stowage. My friends of the thirst and the language that was of bloom and blood laughed as they told how the captain's swears exceeded even his usual polyglot, and was more than ever full of picturesque when on questioning other mariners who were on movement up and down the river that hour. He found that few of them had seen any fog at all, except where it lay round the wharf. However, the ship went out on the ebb tide, and was doubtless by morning far down the river mouth. So was then when they told us, well out to sea. And so, my dear Madam Mina, it is that we have to rest for a time, for our enemy is on the sea, with the fog at his command, on his way to the Danube mouth. To sail a ship takes time, go she never so quick. And when we start to go on land more quick, and we meet him there, our best hope is to come on him when in the box between sunrise and sunset. For there he can make no struggle, and we may deal with him as we should. There are days for us in which we can make ready our plan. We know all about where he go, for we have seen the owner of the ship, who have shown us invoices and all papers that can be. The box we seek is to be landed in Varna, and to be given to an agent, one Ristix, who will there present his credentials, and so our merchant friend will have done his part. When he asks if there be any wrong, for that so, he can telegraph and have inquiry made at Varna. We say no, for what is to be done is not for police or of the customs. It must be done by us alone and in our own way. When Dr. Van Helsing had done speaking, I asked him if he were certain that the Count had remained on board the ship, and he replied, "We have the best proof of that, your own evidence. When in the hypnotic trance this morning, I asked him again if it were really necessary that they should pursue the Count, for oh, I dread Jonathan leaving me, and I know that he would surely go if the others went. He answered in growing passion, at first quietly, as he went on. However, he grew more angry and more forceful, till in the end we could not but see wherein was at least some of the personal dominance which made him so long a master amongst men. Yet it is necessary, for your sake in the first, and then for the sake of humanity. This monster has done much harm already in the narrow scope where he find himself, and in the short time when as yet he was only a body, groping his so small measure in the darkness. Groping is when you can't see and you use your hands to see. All this I have told these others. You, my dear Madam Mina, will learn it in the phonograph of my friend Jonathan, or in that of your husband. I've told them how to measure of leaving his own barren land, barren of peoples, and coming to a new land where life of man teems, till they are like the multitude of standing corn. Teeming means a lot of activity, and barren means empty. Let's say it means empty. So I have told them how the measure of leaving his own barren land, empty land, and that sort of empty means no life. It could mean no trees, no grass, no flowers, or it could mean no people or no animals. It sort of means empty of life. I've told them how the measure of leaving his own barren land, barren of people. So you see, he specifies. Then no people live there. There are very few people living there. And coming to a new land where life of man teems. Teems means a lot of activity, a lot of movement. So here there's a lot of human activity, people moving around, whereas where he's from, there's none. It's barren. There's nothing. Till they are like the multitude of standing corn, was the work of centuries. Were another of the undead like him to try to do what he has done, perhaps not all the centuries of the world that have been or that will be could aid him. With this one, all the forces of nature that are occult and deep and strong must have worked together in some wondrous way. The very place where we have been alive, undead for all these centuries, is full of strangeness of the geologic and chemical world. There are deep caverns and fissures that reach none know whither. There have been volcanoes, some of whose openings still send out waters of strange properties and gases that kill or make to vivify. Doubtless, there is something magnetic or electric in some of these combinations of occult forces, which work for physical life in strange way, and in himself were from the first some great qualities. In a hard and warlike time he was celebrate, and that he have more iron nerve, more subtle brain, more braver heart than any man. In him some vital principle have in strange way found their utmost. Pachi is asking about the word vivify. That word viva means like living. That's a Latin word. When you see viva, vi something, vive something, it could have something to do with life. But I don't think vivify is a word. I think what he's saying, because what he said was, his English isn't so good, and sometimes he makes up weird words. But where was it? There have been volcanoes, some of whose openings still send out waters of strange properties, and gases that kill or make to vivify. So I don't know what he means by that, but I think he's saying that these mysterious volcanoes produce a water that can either kill you or give life to you. I'm afraid if I ask ChatGPT what does vivify mean, it's going to say to make something clear. But let's see. Vivify, which I don't think is what he meant. He's just got weird English. Well, vivify is a word. Let's see. Maybe I'm just wrong and making a fool of myself. Okay, to give life or energy to something, to enliven or animate something. So to bring to life. So there are mysterious waters that this volcano gives, and it can either kill you or it can bring something dead back to life. But that's not a word that a normal person would use, especially I think not in contemporary English. So it wouldn't be a word that you should focus on. Doubtless there is something magnetic or electric in some of these combinations of occult forces which work for physical life in strange way. And in himself were from the first some great qualities. In a hard and warlike time he was celebrate, that he have more iron nerve, more subtle brain, more braver heart than any man. In him some vital, you see there's that word v again, which means life. Vital means very important, important to life, important to survive. So water is vital. If you don't have water, you will die. So water is important for living. It's vital. I've lost my place. I'm trying to find my place now. And his body keep strong and grow and thrive, so his brain grow too. All this without that diabolic aid which is surely to him, for it have to yield the powers that come from and are symbolic of good. And now this is what he is to us. He have infect you. Oh, forgive me, my dear, that I must say such. But it is for good of you that I speak. He infect you in such wise that even if he do no more, you have only to live in your own old sweet way, and so in time death, which is of man's common lot, and with God's sanction, shall make you like him. This must not be. We have sworn together that it must not. So he's saying to Mina, she's already infected. And if we don't do anything, when she dies, she'll become like him. And the only way to prevent this is to find him and make sure that he's actually dead. And then she'll be released. She'll be okay. Pachu has listed the word diabolic. Well, diabolic comes from the same word as devil. So diabolic is like evil, like the devil, something like that. Very, very bad, very evil. Thus are we ministers of God's own wish, that the world and men for whom his Son died will not be given over to monsters, whose very existence would defame him. He have allowed us to redeem one soul already, and we go out, as the old knights of the cross, to redeem more. Like them we shall travel towards the sunrise, and like them, if we fall in good cause. He paused, and I said, but will not the Count take his rebuff wisely? Since he has been driven from England, will he not avoid it, as a tiger does the village from which he has been hunted? Aha, he said, your simile of a tiger, good for me. What was her simile again? Since he has been driven from England, will he not avoid it, as a tiger does the village from which he has been hunted? Your simile of the tiger, good for me, and I shall adopt him. Your man-eater, as they of India call the tiger, who has once tasted the blood of the human, cared no more for other prey, but prowl. Prowl is like sneaking around looking for a victim. Pachi is asking about simile. Simile is when you compare two things. I can't think of a simile off the top of my head. It's a way of putting an image in somebody's head to make them understand an idea. So here are some similes. Brave as a lion. So if you say someone is brave, you say, okay, well, I guess that's interesting. But when you say brave as a lion, then people really understand what you mean. Quiet as a mouse. If you say someone is quiet, that's a little bit boring. But if you say quiet as a mouse, people understand very quiet. As bright as the sun. So it's like comparing two things. The word simile comes from the same word as similar. So that should be a good indication of what it means. But prowl unceasing till he get him. This that we hunt from our village is a tiger. 2, a man-eater, and he never ceased to prowl. Nay, in himself, he is not one to retire and stay afar. In his life, his living life, he go over the Turkey frontier and attack his enemy on his own ground. He be beaten back. But did he stay? No. He come again, and again, and again. Look at his persistence and endurance. persistence means to continue always doing something. And we've talked about endure. That word "dure" means hard, or difficult. It could also mean difficult. And endurance means to to be able to do something difficult for a long time. So persistence means doing something all the time, and endurance means to tolerate something difficult for a long time. Look at his persistence. Look how he never stops. And look at his endurance. Look how he can do something very difficult for a long time. With the child brain that was to him, he have long since conceived the idea of coming to a great city. What does he do? He find out the place of all the world most of promise for him, and then he deliberately set himself down to prepare for the task. He find in patience just how is his strength, and what are his powers. He study new tongues, languages. He studies new languages. Pachi is asking about conceive. I don't remember reading the word conceive. Was that here? Where is it? I don't see it. Well, conceive is similar to create, like making something, creating something. But where? I don't see it. Then he deliberately set himself down to prepare for the task. He find in patience just how is his strength, and what are his powers. He study new tongues. He learn new social life, new environment of old ways, the politics, the law, the finance, the science, the habit of a new land, and a new people who have come to be since he was. His glimpse, a glimpse is like a little look, a short little look. Let's put glimpse on our list today. And let's get a better definition. Better than mine. A quick, brief look. So just a very quick look at something. His glimpse that he have had whet his appetite only, and keen his desire. Nay, it help him to grow as to his brain, for it all proved to him how right he was at the first in his surmises. He have done this alone, all alone, from a ruined tomb in a forgotten land. What more may he not do when the greater world of thought is open to him? He that can smile at death, as we know him, who can flourish in the midst of diseases that kill off whole peoples. Oh, if such a one was to come from God and not the devil, what a force for good might he not be in this old world of ours. Pachu is asking about surmise. I would just say that's like a fancy word for guess. But let's test that surmise. To form an opinion about something based on limited evidence or without certain proof. To guess. It just means guess, surmise. And flourish, Pachu's asking about the word flourish, which means to grow stronger, to grow bigger, to grow stronger, to grow healthier. Who can flourish in the midst of diseases that kill off whole peoples? So, You imagine like a horrible disease goes across the land. But Dracula, he doesn't get sick. He gets bigger and stronger and healthier. Oh, if such a one was to come from God, and not the devil, what a force for good he might be in this old world of ours. But we are pledged to set the world free. Our toil means hard work. Our toil must be in silence, and our efforts all in secret. For in this enlightened age, when men believe not even what they say, the doubting of wise men would be his greatest strength. It would be at once his sheath and his armor, and his weapons to destroy us, his enemies who are willing to peril even our own souls for the safety of one we love, for the good of mankind, for the honor and glory of God. After a general discussion, it was determined that for tonight nothing be definitely settled, so they didn't make any decisions about what to do. That we should all sleep on the facts and try to think out the proper conclusions. Tomorrow at breakfast, we are to meet again, and after making our conclusions known to one another, we shall decide on some definite cause of action. I feel wonderful peace and rest tonight. It's as if some haunting presence were removed from me. Perhaps my surmise was not finished. My guess was not finished. Could not be, for I caught sight in the mirror of the red mark upon my forehead, and I knew I was still unclean. 5th of October. Dr. Seward's diary, 5th of October. We all arose early, and I think that sleep did much for each and all of us. When we met at early breakfast, there was a more general cheerfulness than any of us had ever expected to experience again. It really is wonderful how much resilience there is in human nature. Resilience is a word that means recovering from bad things easily. So if something happens to you, if something bad happens to you, you can sit and cry, oh, or you can be resilient and you can say, how do I fix this? I'm going to fix this. And maybe you even make things better with that sort of attitude. So being resilient is someone who actually maybe will practice that word today. That's a pretty good word. And I want 4 words. This will be the last one, resilient. But let's get a better, my definition isn't so good. Let's find a better way of saying this. So resilient means to be able to recover from difficulties or challenges, to adapt. It means being very adaptable. I think that's a very good word, adaptable. You can change with situations. Instead of crying and being a victim, you can change. It is really wonderful how much resilience there is in human nature. Let any obstructing cause, no matter what, be removed in any way, even by death, and we fly back to the first principles of hope and enjoyment. More than once as we sat around the table, my eyes opened in wonder whether the whole of the past days had not been a dream. It was only when I caught sight of the red blotch on Mrs. Harker's forehead that I was brought back to reality, even now, when I'm gravely revolving the matter. It is almost impossible to realize that the cause of all of our trouble is still existent. So the doctor is saying, oh, it's really amazing how resilient we are. If you think about all of the horrible things that have happened to us this past week, how can we sit here together and have a very enjoyable breakfast like it never happened? So that's an example of being resilient. I mean, they could be sitting having breakfast saying, "Oh no, what are we going to do? This is horrible." But instead, it's like it never happened, and they're even enjoying themselves, even though this is a horrible time for them. Even Mrs. Harker seems to lose sight of her trouble for whole spells. Remember that a spell could mean a period of time. So even Mrs. Harker seems to forget about her troubles for a period of time. It is only now and again, when something recalls into her mind, that she thinks of her terrible scar. We're to meet here, in my study, in half an hour, and decide on a course of action. I see only one immediate difficulty. I know it by instinct rather than reason. We shall all have to speak frankly. And yet I fear that in some mysterious way poor Mrs. Harker's tongue is tied. If your tongue is tied, it means that you're unable to speak. Maybe she doesn't know what to say, or maybe she's so nervous that she can't speak, but for some reason she can't say any words. I know that she forms conclusions of her own, and from all of that has been, I can guess, how brilliant and how true they must be, but she will not or cannot give them an utterance. So he says, I know that she has her, what, let's read that again. I know that she forms conclusions of her own. So I know that she has her own opinions about what has happened or what should be done. And from all that has been, I can guess how brilliant and how true they must be. And he's saying, and with all of the experience that she has in this matter, she probably has some really, really good ideas or opinions about what to do. But she will not or cannot give them utterance. She won't say anything. Her tongue is tied. She won't talk about them. She won't mention them. Mohammed is here. Hello, Mohammed. How are you doing tonight? But she will not or cannot give them utterance. I have mentioned this to Van Helsing, called the vampire's baptism of blood. Well, there may be a poison that distills itself out of good things in an age when the existence of ptomaines is a mystery. We should not wonder at anything. One thing I know, that if my instinct be true regarding poor Mrs. Harker's silences, that there is a terrible difficulty, an unknown danger in the work before us. The same power that compels her silence may compel her speech. I dare not think further, for so I should in my thoughts dishonor a noble woman. Pachi is asking about baptism. Is that a word that they used? I don't remember baptism. Oh, baptism of blood. Oh, well, in the Christian religion, uh, when a baby is born, there's a ritual that you have to do, which is called baptism, and this officially makes them Christian. So the priest pours. Well, I only know about the Catholic Church. I don't know about how other people do it in a very different way. That's not how Catholics do it. This is how a Catholic would do it, like this. And so it's like being reborn. So you're not really safe until you're born, and then this happens to you. You must go through this. That's a baptism. That makes you safe. That means you're going to heaven. But so he's talking about a baptism of blood. So they're not using water; they're using blood because this is an evil ritual. This is to get your ticket to hell, not to heaven. What were they even talking about when they said that? I don't know. A baptism of blood. The Count had his own purposes when he gave her what Van Helsing called the vampire's baptism of blood. So, so a Christian to go to heaven must go through this process of having the water. But if you're going to hell, then you'll have your baptism of blood, and that's the vampire taking your blood from you. It, I forgot where I was. The Count had his own purposes when he gave what Van Helsing called the vampire's baptism of blood. Well, there may be a poison that distills itself out of good things. In an age when the existence of ptomaines is a mystery, we should not wonder anything. One thing I know, that if my instinct be true regarding poor Mrs. Harker's silences, then there's a terrible difficulty, an unknown danger in the work before us. The same power that compels her silence may compel her speech. I dare not think further, for I should in my thoughts dishonor a noble woman. Later, when the professor came in, we talked over the state of things. To talk something over means to have a conversation about it, to discuss it. So that's a phrasal verb, to talk something over. So they talked over the state of things. They talked over the situation. They discussed the situation. They had a conversation about it. I could see that he had something on his mind which he wanted to say, but felt some hesitancy about broaching the subject. After beating about the bush a little, he said, "Friend John, there's something that you and I must talk of alone, just at the first at any rate. Later, we may have to take the others into our confidence." Then he stopped, so I waited, and he went on. "Madam Mina, our poor, dear Madam Mina, is changing. A cold shiver is when you feel sudden cold. Ooh. A cold shiver ran through me to find my worst fears thus endorsed." Van Helsing continued. "With the sad experience of Miss Lucy, we must this time be warned before things go too far. Our task is now in reality more difficult than ever, and this new trouble makes every hour of the direst importance. I can see the characteristics of the vampire coming in her face. It is now but very, very slight, but it is to be seen if we have eyes to notice without prejudge. Her teeth are sharper, and at times her eyes are more hard. But these are not all. There is to her the silence now often, as so it was with Miss Lucy. She did not speak, even when she wrote that which she wished to be known later. Now my fear is this: if it be that she can, by our hypnotic trance, tell what the Count see and hear, is it not more true than he who have hypnotized her first, and who have drink of her very blood, and make her drink of his, should, if he will, compel her mind to disclose to him that which she knows?" So the professor is saying, in simpler language, the professor is saying, if Mina, remember earlier, they hypnotized Mina, and she could see that the Count was on a boat, and he was sailing towards Transylvania. And the professor is saying, well, they have this special connection now. And if she can see what he's doing, maybe he can see what she's doing. He wiped his forehead, which had broken out in profuse perspiration at the thought of the pain which he might have to inflict upon the poor soul already so tortured. Pachi was saying, are synonyms of vampire monster or rascal? Well, I think monsters have many different forms. And maybe you could consider a vampire to be a monster. But not Not all monsters are vampires. Monsters can be many things. A rascal is just like a bad person, a no good person. So I think that's a completely different classification. So no, I wouldn't say that rascal is related. Like here, let me just give you an example. When I was little on TV, um, they used to show this on TV. This is actually I'm not that old. This is from like the 1930s, and it was just a group of little children who were always getting into trouble, and it was funny. It was like a comedy, and the name of the show was called The Little Rascals. They used to always play that on TV when I was growing up, even though it was from the 1930s. So no, vampires and rascals are not the same. Rascals are just people who do bad things, and these little children were always doing bad things to adults, making them very angry. And that was kind of the funny part of the show. He wiped his forehead, which had broken out in profuse perspiration at the thought of the pain which he might have to inflict upon the poor soul already so tortured. I knew that it would be some sort of comfort to him if I told him that I also had come to the same conclusion, for at any rate it would take away the pain of doubt. I told him, and the effect was as I expected. It is now close to the time of our gathering. Van Helsing has gone away to prepare for the meeting, and his painful part of it, I really believe his purpose, is to be able to pray alone. Later, at the very outset of our meeting, a great personal relief was experienced by both Van Helsing and myself. Mrs. Harker had sent a message by her husband to say that she would not join us at present, and she thought it would be better that we should be free to discuss our movements without her presence to embarrass us. The professor and I looked at each other for an instant, and somehow we both seemed relieved. Whew! We're saved. Relieved. Pachi is asking about outset. That means like beginning. There's another way of saying beginning. At the very outset of our meeting. At the very beginning of our meeting. For my own part, I thought that if Mrs. Harker realized the danger herself, it was much pain as well as much danger averted. Under the circumstances, we agreed. By a questioning look and an answer with a finger on the lip, to preserve the silence in our suspicion. I don't know, maybe that doesn't mean anything in your culture, but this means don't talk. Shh. Putting your finger to your lip. To preserve the silence in our suspicions until we should have been able to confer alone again. We went at once into our plan of campaign. Van Helsing roughly put the facts before us first. The Tsarina Catherine left the Thames yesterday morning. Pachi is asking about averted. Where was that word? Averted. Averted just means like avoided. It's kind of the same word. Much danger averted. Much danger avoided. Van Helsing roughly put the facts before us first. The Tsarina Catherine left the Thames yesterday morning. It will take her, at the quickest speed she's ever made, at least 3 weeks to reach Varna, but we can travel overland to the same place in 3 days. Now, if we allow for 2 days less for the ship's voyage, owing to such weather influences as we know that the Count can bring to bear, and if we allow a whole day and night for any delays which may occur to us. Then we have a margin of nearly 2 weeks. Thus, in order to be quite safe, we must leave here on the 17th at latest. Then we shall at any rate be in Varna a day before the ship arrives, and able to make such preparations as may be necessary. Of course, we shall all go armed against evil things, spiritual as well as physical. So arms, that means like guns, weapons. But he's saying we have to have two kinds of arms, spiritual ones and physical ones. So we have to have guns and sticks for physical, but we also have to have religious symbols to protect ourselves, so that God will protect us. Pachu says ship's voyage, ship's journey. It's the same. Voyage, journey. There might be a little bit of a difference. I think a journey sounds much longer. And a voyage that's just a French word for trip. Isn't that fun? If you learn English, you're also learning French most of the time. Thus, in order to be quite safe, we must leave here on the 17th at latest, and then we shall at any rate be in Varna a day before the ship arrives, and able to make such preparations as may be necessary. Of course, we shall go armed against evil things, spiritual as well as physical. Here Quincy Morris added, I understand that the Count comes from a wolf country, and it may be that he shall get there before us. I propose that we add Winchesters to our armament. I think a Winchester is a pistol. It's a gun. I have a kind of belief in a Winchester when there is any trouble of that sort around. Do you remember, Art, when we had that pack after us at Tobolsk? What wouldn't we have given for a repeater apiece? Muhammad says there's a song, Voyage, Voyage. That just means going on a trip, going on a trip. Good, said Van Helsing. Winchesters it shall be. Quincy's head is level at times, but most so when there's to hunt. Metaphor to be more dishonor to science, that wolves be of danger to man. In the meantime, we can do nothing here, and as I think that Varna is not familiar to any of us, why not go there more soon? It is as long to wait here as there. Tonight, and journey we can get ready. What? It is as long to wait here as there. Tonight and tomorrow we can get ready. And then, if all be well, we four can set out on our journey. To set out means to start on a long journey, a long trip, a long voyage. We four, said Harker interrogatively, looking from one to another of us. Of course, answered the professor quickly. You must remain to take care of your so sweet wife. Harker was silent for a while, and then said in a hollow voice, Let us all talk of that part of it in the morning. I want to consult with Mina. So Harker wants to go, but first he has to make sure his wife is okay with that. I thought now was the time for Van Helsing to warn him not to disclose our plan to her, but he took no notice. I looked at him significantly and coughed. For answer, he put his finger to his lips and turned away. Jonathan Harker's journal. 5th of October afternoon. For some time after our meeting this morning, I could not think. The new phases of things leave my mind in a state of wonder which allows no room for active thought. Mina's determination not to take any part in the discussion set me thinking. And as I could not argue the matter with her, I could only guess. I am as far as ever from a solution now. The way the others received it, too, puzzled me. The last time we talked of the subject, we agreed that there was to be no more concealment of anything amongst us. Mina's sleeping now, calmly and sweetly like a little child. Her lips are curved and her face beams with happiness. Thank God, there are such moments still for her. Later, how strange it all is, I sat watching Mina's happy sleep, and I came as near to being happy myself as I suppose I shall ever be. As the evening drew on, so draw means pull, extract, and on means continue. So as the evening continued, as it progressed, and the earth took its shadow from the sun sinking lower, the silence of the room grew more and more solemn to me. Solemn means serious. All at once, Mina opened her eyes, and looking at me tenderly said, "Jonathan, I want you to promise me something on your word of honor, a promise made to me, but made holily, wow, that's a hard word to say, holily in God's hearing, and not to be broken, though I should go down on my knees and implore you." Implore means beg. "I should go down on my knees and implore you with bitter tears. Quick, you must make it to me at once." "Mina," I said, "a promise like that? I cannot make it once. I may have no right to make it." "But dear one," she said, in such a spiritual intensity that her eyes were like pole stars, "it is I who wish it, and it is not for myself. You can ask Dr. Van Helsing if I am not right. If he disagrees, you may do as you will. Nay, more, if you all agree later, you are absolved from the promise." Absolved means like forgiven. "I promise," I said, and for a moment she looked supremely happy, though to me all happiness for her was denied by the red scar on her forehead. She said, "Promise me that you will not tell me anything of the plans formed for the campaign against the Count, not by word or inference or implication, not at any time whilst this remains to me." And she solemnly pointed to the scar. I saw that she was in earnest, and said solemnly, "I promise." And as I said it, I felt that from that instant the door had been shut between us. Later, midnight, Mina had been bright and cheerful all the evening, so much so that all the rest seemed to take courage, as if infected somewhat with her gaiety. As a result, even I myself felt as if the pall of the gloom which weighs us down was somewhat lifted. We all retired early. Mina is now sleeping like a little child. It's a wonderful thing to see that her faculty of sleep remains to her in the midst of her terrible trouble. Thank God for it. For then at least she can forget her care. Perhaps her example may affect me as her gaiety did tonight. I shall try it. Oh, for a dreamless sleep. Pachi is asking about, well, solemnly, I can't talk anymore tonight. Solemnly means in a very serious way. And earnest means to have a lot of enthusiasm. So, where was that? Solemnly earnest. I could see that she was in earnest, so she was desperate. She was very enthusiastic. She was very she was really insisting that I make the promise. And said solemnly, and she said in a very serious way, I and I said solemnly, I promise. So he said it in a very serious way. And then Pachu says gaiety. The word gay, Gay, means happy. So gaiety is like the noun form of that. So let's see. We were all infected with her gaiety. That means uh, every one of us, she was so happy that it infected us. It came into us, and we became more happy just because of her being there and being so happy. Yes, gaiety is a synonym for happiness. They're both nouns, and they both represent the idea of being happy. And the pall of gloom. That's I don't think that you have to worry about that, but let's look up this word pall. Pall. Gloom means like depression or sadness. But I don't know what pal means. That's not a contemporary word. Muhammad says don't use this word in the present. Yeah, it's been the meaning of that word has changed over time. But that's actually a girl's name. I don't know if people still name their daughters that, but it used to be a pretty popular name, Gay. I think it's Gay, but not anymore, probably. Uh, a pall, Pall, is a covering, especially a heavy cloth that covers the coffin at a funeral. So a sense of, or it says a sense of gloom or sadness, a pall of gloom. So like a dark cloud. There was a dark cloud in the room, and then Mina came in, and she was very gay, meaning happy, and this made the dark cloud, the pall of gloom, go away from the room, and everybody felt happy. As a result, even I myself felt as if the pall of gloom which weighs us down were somewhat lifted. We all retired early. That means we all went to bed early. Mina is now sleeping like a little child. It's a wonderful thing that her faculty of sleep remains to her in the midst of her terrible trouble. Thank God for it. For then at least she can forget her care. Perhaps her example may affect me as her gaiety did tonight. I shall try it for a dreamless sleep. October 6th, morning, another surprise. Mina woke me early about the same time as yesterday and asked me to bring Dr. Van Helsing. I thought that it was another occasion for hypnotism, and without question went for the professor. He had evidently expected some such call, for I found him dressed in his room. His door was ajar. We've seen that word before. When a door is ajar, that means that it's a little bit open. Let's take a look at pictures of what that means. This is a door that is ajar. And a door ajar means a little bit open. And in your car, actually, there's a warning light. If you close the door of your car but you don't do it well enough, and because you have to kind of pull hard. If you don't pull hard, your door might be a little bit open. So there's a little warning sign in your car that says "door ajar." I found him dressed and in his room. His door was ajar, so that he could hear the opening of the door of our room. He came at once. As he passed into the room, he asked Mina if the others might come too. No, she said quite simply. It won't be necessary. You can tell them just as well. I must go with you on your journey. Dr. Van Helsing was startled, as I was. After a moment's pause, he asked, But why? You must take me with you. I'm safer with you, and you shall be safer too. But why, dear Madam Mina? You know that your safety is our solemnest duty. So our most serious duty, your safety is our most serious duty. We go into danger, to which you are, or may be, more liable than any of us from circumstances, things that have been. He paused, embarrassed, and she replied. She raised her finger and pointed to her forehead. I know. That is why I must go. I can tell you now, whilst the sun is coming up, I may not be able again. I know that when the Count wills me, I must go. I know that if he tells me to come in secret, I must by wile. That means it's already too late for her. She's already under the influence of the Count. So if they leave her alone, if they leave her there, and the Count, sends her messages, come to me, she will find a way to come. By wile means by tricking people. So if they make her stay, then and the Count is telling her come, she will find a way to get there, even if she has to lie and trick people. And so she's saying it's better if we all go together, because then you can watch me. By any device or hoodwink. Hoodwink is a funny word for tricking people. Even Jonathan. God saw the look that she turned on me as she spoke, and if there be indeed a recording angel, that look is noted in her everlasting honor. I could only clasp her hand. I could not speak. My emotion was too great for even the relief of tears. She went on. You men are brave and strong. You're strong in your numbers, for you can defy that which would break down the human endurance of one who had to guard alone. Besides, I may be of service, since you can hypnotize me and so learn that which even I myself do not know. So she says, you're strong in your numbers, and you can defy that which would break down. Okay, it's a complicated sentence. To defy someone is to not listen to them. Do your homework. No, that's defying someone. So you can defy that which would break down the human endurance of one. Now, this is break down in a more literal meaning. This is a phrasal verb, break down, but I think it's pretty literal here, meaning to tear into pieces, to break into pieces. You can defy that which would break down human endurance of one who had to guard alone. Besides, I may be of service, since you can hypnotize me, and so learn that which even I myself do not know. Dr. Van Helsing said gravely, Madam Mina, you are, as always, most wise. You shall with us come, and together we shall do which we go forth to achieve. When he had spoken, Mina's long spell of silence, so again here's spell meaning a period of time. Mina's long period of time of silence, Mina's long spell of silence, made me look at her. She had fallen back on her pillow asleep, She did not even wake when I had pulled up the blind and let in the sunlight which flooded the room. Van Helsing motioned me to come with him quietly. We went to his room, and within a minute Lord Godalming, Dr. Seward, and Mr. Morris were with us also. He told them what Mina had said, and went on. In the morning we shall leave for Varna. We have now to deal with a new factor, Madam Mina. Oh, but her soul is true. It is to her agony to tell us so much as she has done, but it is most right, and we are warned in time. There must be no chance lost, and in Varna we must be ready to act the instant when the ship arrives. What shall we do exactly? Asked Mr. Morris laconically. So here we have that fancy word, laconic. That means, what does that mean? That means to say something in very clear and simple words. Very, very few clear, simple words. But I'm just going to test my memory. This is not a word that you should focus on learning because it's not a word that people normally use. But it's funny how much it comes up in books. I've never heard that word until I started doing this. Describes a style of speaking or writing that is brief, concise, and often to the point, sometimes in a way that seems terse or abrupt. So it could almost sound a little rude. It's so short and clear that it might sound a little bit rude. The professor paused before replying. We shall first board that ship. Then, when we have identified the box, we shall place a branch of wild rose on it. This we shall fasten. To fasten something means like to connect. So if it's a vine of roses, probably you would fasten it by tying it. For when it is there, none can emerge. So that at least says the superstition. And to the superstition, we must trust at the first. It was man's faith in the early, and it have its roots in faith still. Then, when we get the opportunity that we seek, when none are near to see, we shall open the box, and all will be well. I shall not wait for any opportunity, said Morris. When I see the box, I shall open it and destroy the monster. Though there were 1,000 men looking on, and if I am to be wiped out for it, meaning killed, if I'm to be killed for it at the next moment, I grasped his hand instinctively and found it as firm as a piece of steel. I think he understood my look. I hope he did. Good boy, said Dr. Van Helsing. Brave boy. Quincy is all man. God bless him for it, my child. Believe me, none of us shall lag behind or pause from any fear. I wonder, lag means to be slow. And lag behind is a phrasal verb. I wonder what kind of pictures we could get. Okay. It's sad how the pictures used to be so good on Google, and now they're not. Okay. You see the gray ones are running, but the yellow one is lagging behind. Here's a better picture, I think. This is sort of lagging behind. The bus is leaving, and these people have missed the bus. They have lagged behind. What else? Anything else? Well, how could you guess why there would be pictures of students for lagging behind? In this situation, that would be like maybe all of the class is doing very well, but there are 1 or 2 students who are not doing well. So you would say that these students are lagging behind. they're not where they should be, or they're not where they want to be. They have to work hard, or they have to run to catch up. I'm just curious how many. Okay, we're almost done with this chapter. I'm just, because my mouth is getting very thirsty. I need to get something to drink. But there's just one more page, so I think I can survive. But well, don't go away though, because if we have volunteers, we're going to practice pronunciation and intonation and accentuation. So don't go away if you think, oh, there's only one page. Well, goodbye, because we're about to do some real work. Pachi says we're lagging behind our friends. Yes, if your friends are walking very far in front of you, you're lagging behind your friends. My child, believe me, none of us shall lag behind or pause for any fear. I do but say what we may do, what we must do, but indeed, we cannot say what we may do. There are so many things. So think about that. We talk about what we must do. Wait, I do but say what we may do, what we must do, but indeed, we cannot say what we may do. So I think he's saying you can't predict exactly what you're going to do when the situation finally happens. There's so many things which may happen, and their ways and their ends are so various that until the moment we may not say. We shall all be armed. That means we shall all have weapons, guns, sticks, religious objects. We shall all be armed in all ways, and when the time for the end has come, our effort shall not be lack. Now, let us today put all our affairs in order. Let all things which touch on others dear to us, and who on us depend, be complete. For none of us can tell what or when or how the end may be. As for me, my own affairs are regulate, and as I have nothing else to do, I shall make arrangements for the travel. I shall have all tickets and so forth for our journey. There was nothing further to be said, and we parted. I shall now settle up all my affairs of earth, and be ready for whatever may come later. It is done. My will is made, and all complete. Mina, if she survive, is my sole heir. If it should not be so, then the others who have been so good to us shall have remainder. It is now drawing towards sunset. Mina's uneasiness calls my attention to it. I am sure that there is something on her mind, which the time of exact sunset will reveal. These occasions are becoming harrowing times for us all, for each sunrise and sunset opens up some new danger, some new pain, which, however, may in God's will be means to a good end. I write all these things in the diary, since my darling must not hear them now. But if it may be that she can see them again, they shall be ready. She's calling to me. Okay, well, that was the end of chapter 5. So, Pachu, Muhammad, or Alex, do you want to practice pronunciation, intonation, and accentuation? If they agree, they will join us in Discord, and then we will continue there. Okay, so don't go away. We're going to stay here on the channel, but we're just going to bring some people in. So I've got Pachu, and maybe Muhammad or Alex will also join us. We'll see. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a little break, okay? Just a few minutes. Okay, so Pachu and Alex have said okay. All right, so I'm just going to take a little break, and I'm going to set up the vocabulary words with definitions so that we don't have to play around with that while while we're practicing. Or, yeah. So there's no distractions. Okay. So it'll be 2 or 3 minutes. Just don't go away. I'll be back when that's all set up. All right. I'm disappearing. I'm going to pull a disappearing act here. Okay, we're back. Let me just turn off the music here and uh, let's switch documents. Here we go. All right, so we're going to have Alex and Pachu joining us tonight. We'll just open up Discord. If you ever want to practice with us, all you have to do. Oh, we've got Mohammed here also. Okay, um, well, let me open this up. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Hello, sir.
We've got Pachu and Mohammed and Alex are on mute. I
I
was
am
think
here.
okay, Mohammed's here, and Alex, are you also here?
Yes.
Okay,
If you only need two, if you only need two, I can just wait for some other day. I don't mind, you know. If you
okay.
only need two, you
Well,
can. Yeah, I don't mind.
okay. Well, I was just thinking about this because it's a good problem for me to have that suddenly I have a lot of people who want to work with me, so I'm happy about that. But I'm thinking what we can do is you're on the Discord. And if you see me doing a reading, you can volunteer in the Discord, and the first two who volunteer are the ones who I will pick. Does that make sense? So if I'm
I
doing
don't mind.
something, then whoever writes, "Okay, I want to do it today," the first two who do that, then those are the ones I'll work with. Does everyone understand that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Do you understand,
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes, yes,
Is that fair? Do you think that's a fair way of dealing with the situation?
for sure. Yes,
Okay,
Listen, it's a very easy. I can just listen. You know, I practice here and then I put in mute myself. I can just listen, and yeah, I can join you some other day. It doesn't have to. You know,
okay,
it's
but
easy
those
for me.
those will be the rules from now on. The first two, because I feel
Okay.
horrible. I feel horrible saying, "Oh, I can only do two. Leave me." So I don't. I want to
No,
avoid that situation.
no,
Okay.
no. It's very easy, simple.
Okay. Well, so Alex, tonight would that be okay if we do it?
I got myself. I will put myself on mute. Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've got Mohammed and Pachu, and let's see. Mohammed, what is the first word on our list today?
idle,
Idle, idle, idle. Do you know that word,
idle.
idle? Have you seen that before?
Yes, in chemical reaction, there is idle element.
You confuse me, Mohammed, because sometimes you talk about business and sometimes you talk about science. Are you a business science man? Are you a science businessman?
No, no.
You just know all these things. Well, so idle
I
means
love business.
go ahead. What?
I do some business. Yes.
Uh, okay. So idle means like no activity. It's like something that should be moving but isn't moving, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yes.
you can even use it in the same way that you use the word lazy. If you call someone idle, it means you're calling them lazy.
Okay.
Pachu, have you seen that word before, idle?
yes,
Okay. And do you understand what it means? Is it pretty clear for you what it means?
yes. A
Okay. Well, it
lazy
could be
person.
lazy, but really it means not moving. It means it should be moving, but it's not moving. It should be working, but it's not working.
Okay.
Okay, that's really what it means, but sometimes you can use it meaning lazy.
Yeah. Idle. We can also say it useless. Huh?
Useless and idle, I think, are two different things because something that is idle could be useful if you get it to move. but something that's useless, even if you move it, it's not going to do anything for you.
Okay.
So they're a little bit different. Mohammed, can you read the sentence, the example sentence?
The factory has been idle since the workers went on strike.
Okay, what does that mean to be on strike?
Like the worker saying, we will not work until we have a raise in salary.
That's right, something like that. Okay, the first. Can you read the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words?
The factory has been idle.
Mm-hmm. In that phrase, the factory has been idle. What do you think are the most important words?
The factory and idle.
Okay, I agree with you. Now, in that word factory, which word has all of the power?
Factory.
Or which, I'm sorry,
Uh,
which syllable?
Second syllable.
That would be victory. Is it victory or factory?
So it will be the first factory.
Factory. Factory is the first syllable. That's a really important thing to pay attention to. Which syllable has all of the power? That's very important. Okay. How about in the word idle? Idle. Which syllable has all of the sound?
Idle. First letter.
The first
I.
letter. Okay. All right. Idle. So, how would you say factory plus has plus been? How does that sound when people are talking?
The factory has been idle.
Okay, but you know this has it. You can even make a contraction for this. This is this is okay to write if you want to write it. Factory's been. Factory's been.
The factory's been.
The factory's been.
The factory's been.
The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
And if you notice in English, if a word starts with a vowel sound, it will take the sound in front of it. So that's pronounced nidle, nidle, nidle.
Idle.
Benidle, benidle.
Been idle.
The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
Pachu, can you say that?
The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle. Okay. Say it again. The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
Okay. Now, Pachu, let's see. What are the next? Just read the next phrase. Read the final part of the sentence. What does it say?
Since the workers went on strike,
Which words do you think are most important in that phrase?
the two is for strike and the workers.
Okay, strike and workers. Those are important words. And in the word workers, which syllable has all of the power? Workers.
Were.
Workers. That's right. Workers. Can you say workers went on? Workers went on.
Workers venom.
Workers went on strike.
Workers venom strike.
The workers went on strike.
The workers venom strike.
Yeah, so you notice I don't pronounce the T in went, but in the UK they probably would. They probably would say went on. The workers went on strike.
Yes, but living tea is easy, smooth, and no effort.
Yeah, it's
So
easier to say no. The workers went on strike.
the workers when went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on a strike.
Mm-hmm. Mohammed, can you say workers went on strike?
Workers on a strike.
Went on.
Workers went on strike.
The workers went on strike.
The workers went on strike.
Since the workers went on strike.
Since the workers went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike.
Okay, Mohammed, how many phrases can we divide this sentence into?
2.
What are the two phrases?
First one will end at idle.
Can you repeat that, please?
First will end at idle.
Okay, so the first phrase ends at idle. Okay. Now, in the first phrase, the factory's been idle. How would you like that to sound? Would you like that to sound serious, or would you like that to sound nice and light and friendly?
Serious.
Serious. Okay. So we'll make sure that this is all blue, no high tones, only low tones. But how will we start our phrase?
It's high tone.
With a high tone. Okay. All right. So it will sound like this. The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
Can you say that, Pachu? The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
Mhm. The factory's been idle.
The factory's been idle.
Okay. Pachu, what about the second phrase? How would you like that to sound? Would you like that to sound serious, or do you want it to sound nice and friendly?
The happy.
Happy? You want it to sound happy? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to have to put a high tone at the final part here, but we still have to make this blue. We still have to make this low at the end because a phrase will usually end low. So we'll have to apply two tones here. Strike.
Yeah.
Strike.
Strike.
Okay. Strike. How would the phrase start?
It's a high tone.
With a high tone, because most phrases start with a high tone.
Yes.
Since the workers went on strike.
Since the workers went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike. Strike.
The factory's been
Sorry.
okay. So
Go
the
ahead.
factory's been idle since the workers went on a strike.
Uh-huh. Mohammed, can you say that? Strike. Strike.
Strike.
Since the workers went on strike.
Since the workers went on strike.
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike.
The factory been idle since the workers went on strike.
Okay. Well, Mohammed, can you make a since when factory idle question?
When was the factory been idle?
How would you make a question with the factory has been idle? What would be the question?
When was the factory been idle?
Okay, but this is not was, this is has. But I'm going to change this so it's clear, so you can see it, okay? This is has been, this is present perfect. How will you make a question with the factory has been idle? What is the question form?
When the factory had been idle.
Forget about when. Just make a yes no question. Let's start with that. That's a basic question.
Is has the factory been idle?
Okay, so there's your basic
or
question.
or had?
Had is a different verb tense. We're not doing past perfect, we're doing present perfect. So we have to use has. That's what we're working with here. That had been, that has a different meaning than has been. So we don't want to change the meaning here. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Are you confused between the meaning of present perfect and past perfect?
No, I got it.
Okay. Can you make the question again? How would you say that?
Has the factory been idle?
Has the factory been idle? Okay. Now that you have the basic question form, you can make a when question. Just put when in front. When?
When has the factory been idle?
Okay, but let's say since when. We have to use that. We want to use the word since. Since when has the factory been idle?
Since when has the factory been idle?
Okay, and you could say it like that. That would be okay, but most people probably would say, when has the factory been idle since? Can you say it like that? You put since at the end. When has the factory been
When when has the factory been idle since?
Okay. And what would be the most important word in your question?
Uh, when
Yes. Okay. How would you? So how will you pronounce when? If it's very important, how will you pronounce it?
when
When. Make the e much longer. When. When.
when
How would you say when plus has plus the?
when as
When is the? When is the? When is the? When is the?
when the
When is or when's? You could say when's. When's the?
when the
When's z?
when
When.
when the, when the factory has been when the factory been idle since?
When's the factory been idle since? When has the factory been idle since?
When is the factory has been idle since?
Well, you made a little mistake. Can you try to say that again?
When's the factory been idle since?
Okay. Pachu, can you say that question? How would you say that question?
So when when is the factory been idle since?
When has the factory been idle since? Okay. What is the answer? Pachu, since when has the factory been idle?
The factory's been idle since the workers went on strike.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Mohammed, when has the factory been idle since?
The factory has been idle since the worker went on a strike.
All right. Okay, let's move on to our next word. Pachu, do you know this? Well, yes, you know this word. What is number two?
As intrude.
What does that mean? Intrude.
Yeah. Intrude means someone who entered in a house without informing.
Without permission,
Yeah,
without being welcome, somebody who isn't wanted.
yes.
Can you read the example sentence, Pachu?
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
So, what do you imagine in that sentence? She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
She entered into the meeting
Mm-hmm.
without being informed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Pachi, the first three words. Can you say them?
She, in, she intruded into.
Oh, let's say the first four words. What are the first four words?
She intruded into.
The. Let's also add the.
She intruded into the.
What is the most important word in that phrase?
Is intruded.
Okay, and what is the biggest sound in the word intruded?
Trude.
Oh, that's right. True. I think just true. No D, just true.
True.
How
Intrude.
how would you
Intrude.
say these three words together? Intruded into the, like it was one word.
She, she intruded into the.
Did into the, did into the, did into the.
Did into the. Did into the. Did
Intruded,
into the.
intruded into the.
She intruded into the.
She intruded into the.
She intruded into the.
Okay. Mohammed, do you know that word intrude? Have you seen that before?
Yes, I see it in phrase say intruding thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts. Those are thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts,
What kind of thoughts are intrusive thoughts?
which come from the unconscious mind.
Could be, but the idea is they're not welcome. Okay, that they maybe they cause problems for you. Like, did you ever try to read a book and then your mind starts asking questions about something different, like what should I have for lunch? You're trying to read the book, but your mind is saying, "What should I have for lunch today?" Right? And you can't concentrate.
Yes,
Did that ever happen to you?
yes,
That's an intrusive thought. It's an unwelcome thought. You're trying to focus on something, and a different thought you didn't invite, you didn't ask, it just comes into your mind. Do you understand?
yes.
So it's the same idea. Okay. Can you say that phrase? She intruded into the.
She intruded into the.
Into the. Into the.
Yeah, I match the D intruded was into. I said into.
Okay. Yes, yes. Go
Like
ahead and do that. Go ahead and did into the. Did into the. Did into the.
she intruded into the.
Okay. She intruded into the. What
She
are
intruded into the
what is the next word, Mohammed?
meeting.
Okay. Is that an important word, do you think?
Yes,
Okay. Which syllable has all of the power in that word?
meeting. First syllable.
Meeting, 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 meeting. She intruded.
Meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
Okay.
She intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
Okay. Pachu, can you say that phrase?
She, in, she intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting. Okay. Pachu, what are the final three words of that phrase, of that sentence?
Without being
Mhm.
invited.
Okay. What words do you think should be very important in there?
Uh, without invited.
Okay, without and invited. Let's see. Now it's funny because now I've said many times, if you have a combination of two words together like one word, which word gets all of the emphasis?
Is with.
Yeah,
With.
uh,
Without.
but not here. Okay, and that's why I'm telling you. I've always been careful to say almost always. Okay, so here's an exception.
Yeah.
Without, without
without.
Yeah, so this is one time where you have to say out, okay, instead of with. If you say
Yes,
without, that means outside. So if you put the accent on with, it means something different. All right, so
okay,
we want to use without, meaning it didn't happen. Okay. And you also said
okay.
invited. Invited.
Invited,
Where which syllable has all of the power in invited?
bite,
Vite. Okay, invited. Just vi. Just vi.
by, invite,
Yeah.
invited. Yes, yes.
So we have without being invited.
Without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
Okay, Muhammad, can you say that? Without being invited.
Without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
Okay, all right. Uh, Muhammad, how many phrases can we divide this sentence into?
Two.
Two? What are the two phrases?
Will end at a meeting.
Okay. How would you like the first phrase to sound? Do you want it to sound happy, nice, and friendly, or serious?
Serious.
Serious, serious. You should make the e bigger when you say serious, serious.
Serious.
Yeah, it's a big sound. It's not a little sound. Okay, so that means we won't use any high tones at the end of the phrase. We'll just keep it very low. Meeting. But how will we start our phrase?
Uh, with high tone.
With a high tone, because most phrases will start with a high tone. All right, so that means that we're just going to go straight down. She intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
That's good. Okay. Pachu, can you say that? She intruded into the meeting.
She intruded into the meeting.
Okay. What in the final phrase, Pachu, without being invited, how would you like that to sound? Would you like that to sound nice and friendly, or do you want it to sound serious?
The serious,
Okay, so that was a good serious, by the way. But that would be, so that means that we're not going to add any high tones to the end of the phrase. We'll just keep it low. Invited, invited, invited.
invited,
hmm
invited.
But how will we start the phrase? How will the phrase start?
So without is high,
Without being invited.
without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
Okay. Mohammed, can you say that? Without being invited.
Without being invited.
hmm She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
She intruded into the meeting without being invited.
Okay. Pachu, can you make a why she not invited to meeting question?
Why did why did she uh, why did she not invited the meeting?
I'll help you out a little bit. I'm making a sentence, okay? The sentence is she was not invited to the meeting. So how would you make a why not question with that information?
Uh, why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Why wasn't she invited to the meeting? Why wasn't she invited to the meeting? Okay, what is the
Why
go ahead. Say it again.
Why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Okay, why wasn't she invited to the meeting? What is your most important word in that question?
It's, it's a why.
Okay,
Why?
how would you say why plus wasn't plus she?
Why wasn't she? Why wasn't she?
We can make why bigger. Why wasn't she?
Why wasn't she?
So
Why wasn't she?
wasn't she? That's very small. Wasn't she? Wasn't she? Why
Why wasn't she?
why wasn't she?
Why wasn't she?
Why was
Why wasn't she?
why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Why was she invited? Why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Muhammad, can you say that?
Why she wasn't why she wasn't invited to the meeting?
Okay, you have to use the question form. If you're asking a question, you have to use the question form. What is the question form of she wasn't invited?
Why was she not wasn't is a question mark is a question
Okay, you have two options. One is very formal. It's not very typical, or well, I guess for some people it could be typical. Let's start with this. I'm just going to put this up on the screen. Okay. Uh, where's black? I can't find. I've got all these different colors here, but I can't find black. I'll just use this. Okay. So here's our verb with our negative word. Now you could say it like this. You could make the question form like this. Okay. But this is wait, what did I do? But this isn't it sounds pretty formal to do it like this. Was she not? You could do it. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But what most people will do is first so you could say why was she not? You could say it like that. Why was she not invited? Can you say it like that?
yes.
Say it.
Why she was not invited to the meeting?
Oh, but you have to use the question form. What is the question form? She was not is a sentence. It's a statement. How do you make it a question?
Why did she was not?
Are you looking at the screen? Can you see what I'm writing on the screen?
What wasn't she invited?
Why wasn't she invited to the meeting? Okay, so you could do it like this. You could say, was she not? All right, so you could say, why was she not? But that sounds very formal, and it's not very typical, I think, in like conversational English, especially to say it like that. Usually, what you'll do is first you'll make the contraction, and then you'll carry everything to the front, and you'll say, why wasn't she? Right? Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. But you have to use the question form. Either way, you have to make a question form. Okay. So can you make the question again? Why?
Why the question form is dead or
That's is not a do verb. We have the verb to be, so you don't use do. You okay. I'm going back to the screen here. Okay. This is the statement form. Statement form. Can you see that I'm writing statement form here? And this is the question form. So if you want to make questions like what, when, why, where, who, how, you have to use the question form. Okay, there's no do because this is not a do verb.
yes, I said why wasn't she is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yes, I said that I thought you say it it's not right.
Oh no, it is right. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry if maybe I misheard you. I don't know. But why wasn't she? Why wasn't she?
Why wasn't she
Okay. What?
intro why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Okay. Why wasn't she invited to the meeting? I don't have an answer to that. Can you think of an answer, Pachu or Muhammad? What could be our answer for why wasn't she invited to the meeting? I'm not sure what the answer could be.
Because of his rude behavior.
Okay, because of her rude behavior, because she's rude.
Yes.
Okay, so Pachu, why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
Uh, s- she was not invited to the meeting because of her rude behavior.
Okay, now do you think it's a good idea to say meeting? Meeting? Does is that the right way to say it? Do you think? Meeting? She wasn't invited to the meeting? Is that how you usually end a sentence in English or a phrase? Going up high like that?
No,
No. How should you say
no, um, meeting,
meeting?
meeting.
Meeting. Meeting. You could say meeting. Meeting. You could say meeting. You could go high to low if you want, but you shouldn't go up at the end like that. Meeting. Try to say it in a.
Yeah, yeah, it is my habit. I
That's
don't
okay.
know, but
That's okay.
yes,
Try to say it the other way. Try to say it this way.
is it meeting,
Meeting.
meeting?
She wasn't invited to the meeting because of
She,
rude behavior.
she wasn't invited to the meeting be,
Meeting,
because of
not
her rude.
don't do meeting. Say meeting. Go down instead of up.
Okay, she was not invited to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting?
Really hard for you. She wasn't invited
No,
to the
I
meeting. Mm-hmm.
no. My mind is not. Yeah, my mind want to do, but yeah, it is
Yeah,
failing.
I can hear you fight.
So
You're fighting it.
yeah, my mind is saying which one I have to pick, first or second.
Meeting.
Yeah,
Don't go up. Just try to stay down. She wasn't invited to the meeting because of her rude behavior.
she was not invited to the meeting. Meeting
That's good because
because of her rude
because of her
behavior.
behavior.
Because of her rude behavior.
Muhammad, why wasn't she invited to the meeting?
She wasn't invited to the meeting because she's rude.
Because she's rude. Okay, the meeting or the meeting?
The meeting.
The meeting. To say it again.
She wasn't invited to the meeting because she was rude.
Okay, because she was rude. All right. Okay, let's move on to our next word here, which is glimpse. Muhammad, do you know that word glimpse? Have you seen that before?
Yes, a glimpse of a book, like a summary of the book.
Yeah, it's like a very quick look, a very quick look of something. Okay, very quick look. So let's see, it says glimpse, a quick or brief look at something. Mohammed, can you read the example sentence that we have up on the screen?
He got a glimpse of mountain peaks from airplane window.
Does that make sense to you? Do you understand the idea?
Yes,
So they're on the airplane,
a
and just
very
for 1 second, he saw the mountain peaks.
yes.
Okay. How would you say the first 4 words, Mohammed?
He got a glimpse,
Okay, and what do you think is the most important word in that phrase?
glimpse,
Glimpse, glimpse, glimpse.
glimpse.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh, how would you say? Can you see the words that I'm highlighting on the screen? Do you see all the words that I'm highlighting?
Yes.
Okay. How would you say all of those words as if it were one word?
He got a glimpse
of the, and sometimes of just sounds like of the, of the, of the, of the, of the,
of the
so the, so
of the
say, and because of starts with an you can start it with sa the, sa the, sa the. That's like here. Wait, sa the, sa the,
the
sa sa the,
the
glimpse of the.
glimpse glimpse the
Yeah, so the glimpse,
glimpse
that's
the
our big word though. So that's our superstar word. So we've got to make it big. Glimpse of the.
glimpse the.
He got a glimpse of the.
He got a glimpse the.
Okay. Pachu, can you say that? He got a glimpse of the.
He got a glimpse the
Sada, sada, sada.
he he got a glimpse Sada.
He got a glimpse of the.
He got a glimpse the
Okay. Uh, Pachu, can you read the next four words? What are the next four words?
mountain peaks from the
Okay. Now, is it peaks or peaks? Which one do you think sounds better? Is this a
is
big sound or a little sound? That peaks.
the peaks
Hmm.
peaks
Peaks. You should try to move your tongue back a little bit, or move your tongue up a little bit more. Peaks.
peaks
And that's good. That's a good
peaks
one. That was good. Peaks. Peaks.
peaks peaks
So read the four words. Mountain peaks from the.
mountain peaks from the
Okay, and which words are important in those four words?
the peaks and mountain
Well, peaks or peaks.
the peaks
Yeah. If you say
peaks
if you say peaks, that would be hard for people to understand what you're talking about because it's a very
okay
long sound. Peaks.
peaks
Yeah, that's better.
peaks
Yeah. Because if you say peaks, that's not so easy to understand. Okay.
yeah it is my usual
Yeah,
English.
that's okay though. We'll fix it.
Okay.
Okay. Now the word mountain, mountain.
Yeah.
Which
It,
syllable has all of the power in that word?
yeah. People also says the mountain.
Mountain, 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 mountain. That's
Mo-
really that's
mountain.
that's a really hard sound for people to produce if they're not born with it.
Yes.
It's like a little cough. It's like in.
Yeah. I think I cannot do it now.
It's
But
okay. You
yeah,
don't have to.
mountain,
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 mountain, mountain. It's really hard to do that sound. For
mountain, mountain.
yeah, it's better
It's
to
like
go ahead.
it's like mountain.
Mountain. Well, the problem is if you exaggerate, because that's kind of okay the way that you're doing it. Some people talk like that, but it doesn't sound very nice. It sounds like somebody who lives in the streets. It has to be a little bit softer. Mountain, mountain. If you say
Mountain.
Mountain.
yeah, because if you say mountain, that's a little bit ugly. It doesn't sound very nice if you say it mountain. That sounds like somebody
Yeah.
in London with a really ugly, in my opinion, a not so nice accent. But
Okay. So we say mountain. Okay.
that's better. It's better just to do that. I think that sounds much nicer than saying mountain, which some people
Okay.
say. Some people do talk like that. But I don't think you should try to talk like that on purpose. Wait, I have to fix my
Yes.
camera. I just went out of focus for some reason.
Yeah. Blurring.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Okay.
So just say the T. Don't try to do that. I mean, it's not important. It sounds better if you don't do it. Mountain. Just say
Okay.
mountain.
Mountain.
But so which
Mountain.
syllable has all of the power in that word?
Mound.
Mound. Mound. Mound. Okay. All right. So we have mountain peaks from the mountain peaks
Mountain peaks for them.
from the
Mountain peaks from the.
he got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
peaks. Make it a little bit bigger.
peaks.
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 That was good. He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
peaks. Make it big.
the peaks.
He got a
Peaks.
glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the.
Okay. Can you say that, Muhammad? He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the
Okay. And what about the final two words, Muhammad? What are the final two words?
airplane window.
Okay. Uh, which words are
Airplane.
airplane, window? Just airplane, or could we also emphasize window? Airplane, window. I don't think you have to emphasize window. Maybe just airplane. Okay. So in that word airplane, which part should we focus on?
Air.
Air, air, air.
Air.
How many sounds in the beginning? Air. How many sounds are there?
3.
Air. Well, how many vowel sounds? Air.
2.
Two. Okay. So it's not just air. It's two sounds. Air. Air.
Air.
Airplane.
Airplane.
Airplane window.
Airplane window.
From the airplane window.
From the airplane window.
Mountain peaks from the airplane window.
Mountain peaks from the airplane window.
He got a glimpse of the.
He got a glimpse of the.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
Uh-huh. Pachu, can you say airplane window?
Airplane window.
Peaks from the airplane window.
Peaks from the airplane window.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the air window.
From the airplane window.
From the airplane window.
Okay. How many phrases, Pachu, can we divide this sentence into, do you think?
Is it two?
Two? What are the two phrases?
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks.
Okay, he got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window. All right. Now, the 1st phrase here, he got a glimpse of the mountain peaks. How would you like it to sound? Would you like it to sound nice and happy, or would you like it to sound serious?
He's a happy.
Happy? Okay. So, how will we say the word peaks?
Oh, so high tone.
Only high?
high and low,
Yeah, well, you have,
all rise,
because normally you have to finish
rise
your
to
phrase. You have to finish your phrase in a low tone. So this will have to be two things. It will have to go from high to low. Peaks, peaks,
peaks,
peaks.
peaks,
Hmm. And how
peaks
will the phrase start?
is a high tone.
High tone. He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks.
Okay. Muhammad, can you say that phrase? He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks.
He
Peaks.
got a glimpse. He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks.
Okay. Now the final phrase from the airplane window, Muhammad, how will you like that to sound? Do you want that to sound nice and friendly, or do you want it to sound serious?
Friendly.
Friendly? Okay. So how will you pronounce the word airplane?
Is it friendly or friendly?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Uh, can I say it like friendly, not friendly? Is that common?
Uh, Friendly, not friendly? You mean like high, low, friendly, high, low, not friendly?
No, no, no. Friendly without D.
Oh, friendly. Friend. I would pronounce the D. Friendly, friendly. I don't think anybody would say friendly. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. Friendly. Friendly. Because actually, it's not the end of a syllable. It's not friendly. That D actually belongs to the second syllable. So you have to sound. It's like the beginning of a sound, and you have to pronounce it dli, dli. That's why it's not optional here. Dli. Can you say
Yes,
dli?
yes.
Dli,
Yes, yes.
dli. So friendly.
Friendly.
Yeah, that's why. Maybe if it were finishing the syllable, maybe you could. It wouldn't be necessary to pronounce it. But this is beginning a syllable, so it's very important to.
Yes, but I ask that because in plural we say friends, not friends.
Friends. See, but that.
We
Mhm.
friend without D.
Yeah, but you see, here's a case where this is the end of a syllable and not the beginning of a syllable. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
And also because I don't. Wait, I'm not sure about that. Friends. Well, let's just leave it at that. That it's the end of a syllable, and for that reason, it's not so important. Okay, it's not the beginning.
Okay.
All right, so what we have to do to make this sound friendly is to uh, add a little bit of a high tone to the beginning, to the important word air. But we have to finish our phrase in a low tone, so then we'll start going down and say airplane window.
From airplane window.
Okay, and how do we start our phrase?
Okay. From the airplane window.
Okay,
With high,
we'll start the
with high,
yeah.
high tone.
Yeah, because normally you'll start your phrase high. From the airplane window.
From the airplane window.
He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
You got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
Pachu, can you say the final phrase from the airplane window?
From the airplane window,
Hmm. He got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
he got a glimpse of the mountain peaks from the airplane window.
Okay. Muhammad, can you make a what he get glimpse of question?
What did he get from the airplane window?
Oh, okay. What he get glimpse of? What he get glimpse of?
What did he get
Mm-hmm.
when he a glimpse of what he did he get from the airplane window?
Okay, so we got
Or
he got. Let's start with this. He got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window. Can you see what I'm writing on the video?
yes,
Okay, he got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window. How would you make a yes no question with he got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window?
did he get a glimpse
Mhm.
from the airplane window?
Okay, did he get a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window? Say that again.
Did he get a glimpse of
Mhm.
the mountains from the airplane window?
Okay, did he get a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window? All right. See, now we have our question form, right? Okay, here's our question form. Statement form. He got a glimpse. Question form. Did he get a glimpse? Okay, now we're going to make a what question. All right, so we're going to eliminate this idea of mountains, okay? You see what I'm doing on the screen? Can you see that?
Yes.
I'm going to reposition this so it's easier to see. Okay, so all you do now is add the word what. What?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
That's right. What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window? Can you say that again?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
Okay, now in your question, what is the most important word?
What?
Okay, so we'll make it bigger. What? What? What?
What?
How would you say what plus did plus he?
What did he?
What did he? What did he?
What did he?
What did he get a?
What did he get?
What did he get a glimpse of?
What did he get a glimpse of?
Okay, now you see we have uh, this weird situation where you have the word of coming up against the word from. That's very strange. So that's a good time to pause. What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
Pachu, can you make that question? How would you ask that question?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window? There's a little pause because that's very strange to have the preposition of and then to have the preposition from hitting each other. So that's a good place to make a little pause. What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
What did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
Okay. And what is the answer, Pachu?
He got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window.
Okay. He got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window. Uh, Mohammed, what did he get a glimpse of from the airplane window?
He got a glimpse of the mountains from the airplane window.
Okay, that's good. All right, we're doing one more and then we're finished for today.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring this up. Pachi, do you know this word resilient? Have you ever seen that before? Resilient?
Yes.
What does that mean? Resilient.
Resilient means uh, again into action, a hard time, but
Mhm.
he returned
Yeah, so
from,
having a difficult time, but being okay. Uh,
yeah,
returning from your bad time. Uh,
yes, returned. Yeah.
recovering. Maybe recover is a good word. Recovering from your bad experience. Resilient.
Recovering from bad experience. Yes.
Pachu, can you read the first one, two, three, four, five words?
And this word is also, yeah, for me.
What?
And this word represents for me also
Oh,
because
you had
lot of
two
things.
representative words. You had intrude,
Yeah,
and
into the resilient.
and resilient. So,
Yeah,
are you
I
are you
want.
resilient?
Yes, I want to be resilient.
You want to be, or you are?
I want to.
You want to
Yes.
be. Okay. Can you say the first one, two, three, four, five words?
She is resilient and stayed in.
And okay,
Yeah,
what are the important words in that
the
phrase?
resilient,
Only,
resilient,
only resilient.
and stay positive.
Okay, actually,
Pos-
you're right. You're right. State is not important, but it must be pronounced in a long way. Why? There's a special reason why this word must be pronounced in a big way.
yeah, is a D.
Because of the D. Okay, because of this D, this vowel sound is very, very long. So let's, even though it's not an important word, let's highlight it like it's important to remind ourselves that it must be pronounced in a very long way. So it's not state, it's stayed.
Stayed,
Stayed,
stayed.
stayed. It's a very big sound. Okay. Now in that word resilient, where is the syllable with all of the power? Resilient.
Zil,
Zil.
zilliant,
Resilient. Zil.
resilient.
Resilient. I think we just say z.
Zil.
Okay. Uh, and how about the word positive? Let's add that word positive to our phrase. Where is that an important word, Pachu? Positive.
Yes.
Okay. And where is all of the emphasis in that word?
So positive,
In the
pause,
front.
pause.
Okay. All right. So this would be a little bit of a challenge. She's resilient and stayed positive.
She is resilient and stayed positive.
Mm-hmm. Say it again.
She is resilient and stayed positive.
Okay, is it stayed or stayed?
Stayed,
That's important.
stayed.
If you want to really improve the way that people understand you or the way that you sound, that's a really important thing to recognize. Some of these vowel sounds can be very, very long. She's resilient and stayed positive.
She is resilient and stayed positive.
Okay. Mohammed, are you familiar with that word resilient?
Yes,
So do you understand what does that sentence mean to you? She is resilient and stayed positive.
she is not affected by losing her job.
Yeah, she's still happy. She's still in a good mood. She's not depressed, right? She doesn't let bad things affect her. Can you say that phrase? She's resilient and stayed positive.
Is resilient and stay positive.
Okay. What are the last words of that phrase?
Even after losing her job.
Which words would you say are important in that phrase? Even after losing her job.
Losing a job.
Okay. But I think also even.
Okay.
What's the difference between saying after losing her job and even after losing her job?
Putting emphasis.
Yeah, so the whole point of that word even is to emphasize, to make a point, right? Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Do you understand why that could be a very important word?
Yes.
Okay. When we say losing, where is all of the emphasis in that word? Where's all the power?
First losing first syllable.
Losing. It's in the first syllable. Okay. How would you pronounce losing plus her plus job like one word?
Losing her job.
Losing her job. Losing her job.
Losing losing her job.
Okay. In the word even, where is all of the emphasis? Which syllable has all of the emphasis?
Even first one.
Okay, even. So that's really big. Even after.
Even after.
Okay, but don't forget that if a word starts with a vowel sound, it will usually take the sound of the word in front of it. So it would be pronounced nafter. Nafter.
Even after.
Yeah,
Even after.
they connect. Even after.
Even after.
Even after.
Even after.
Even after losing her job.
Even after losing her job.
She's resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job.
She's resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job.
Pachu, can you say, how would you pronounce losing plus her plus job like one word?
Losing your job.
Losing her job.
Losing your job.
Even after losing her job.
Even after losing your job.
And can you say even? Make it bigger.
Even.
Even after
Even.
losing her job.
Even after losing your job.
Okay. She's resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job.
She is resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job.
Okay. How many phrases can we divide this sentence into, Pachu?
Is a make two.
Two? What are the two phrases?
So she is resilient and stayed positive.
Okay. And then even after
Yeah.
your job. All right.
Even after losing.
Pachu, the first phrase, she's resilient and stayed positive. How do you want that to sound? Do you want it to sound nice and friendly, or do you want it to sound serious?
It is serious.
Serious? Okay. So what color will the word positive be?
It's a blue and the low tone.
Okay, so there's a blue, so that means it's a low tone if it's blue. And then how will the rest of this sound?
And the rest is all in high red.
Okay, so it's something like, she's resilient and stayed positive.
She is resilient and stayed positive.
Mm-hmm. Mohammed, can you say that? She's resilient and stayed positive.
She's resilient and stayed positive.
Okay, and then Mohammed, in the last phrase, how would you like that to sound? Do you want it to sound nice and friendly, or do you want it to sound serious?
Serious.
Serious, okay. So that means we'll finish this word job just on a low tone, blue. But how will we start our phrase? Will that be high or low?
High.
High, okay. So, uh, even after losing her job,
Even after losing her job.
she's resilient and stayed positive, even after losing her job.
She's resilient and stayed positive, even after losing her job.
Okay. Let's see. Mohammed, can you make a how she react when lose her job question? This is a complicated question. How she react when lose her job?
How she has reacted
Uh-huh.
when she lost her job.
Do simple past, not simple present. Let's do that because it's really illogical uh, to use present perfect in this situation because it's already finished, and present perfect means it's not finished. It's still open somehow. So how would you if let's see, she let's do simple past. She reacted blank after she lost her job. Okay, so the thing we don't know is how did she react? Okay, but how would you make a question with this information?
How did she react after she lost her job?
That's right. Uh-huh. And what is your most important word in that question?
How?
How? How? So that should be a big word. How?
How?
And then if you add plus did plus she, how would that be pronounced together?
How did she?
How did she? How did she? How did she?
How did she?
How did she react after she lost her job?
How did she react after losing her job?
Okay. Pachu, can you make that question?
How did she react after she lost her job?
Okay. How did she react after she lost her job?
How did she react after she lost her job?
Try to whistle a little bit more when you say she. She.
Okay, she.
Mm.
How how, how did she react after she lost her job?
How did she react after she lost her job? Okay. What is the answer, Pachu?
She is resilient and stayed positive even after she lost her job.
Okay, so she's resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job. Say it again.
She is resilient. She is resilient and stayed positive even after losing a job.
Mohammed, how did she react after she lost her job?
She was resilient and stayed positive even after losing her job.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, I think we have to finish here for today. And tomorrow morning, definitely, I will not be doing something because I have an appointment. But we'll have to see about in the evening. So from now on, though, the first two people to write, I want to practice. Those are the two people we will choose. Okay. All right.
Okay, count count me on.
Count me in. Count me in. That means include me. Count me in.
Okay,
Count me.
okay.
All right. Well, thank you for
Because I don't because I don't get a Discord notification.
Okay, I don't know how that works. I really don't know how to use Discord.
Mm.
But so even if you put it in YouTube, okay, I'll put it in for you if if you want. But just say at least in YouTube or in Discord, say, okay, I want to practice. So that way we have a fair way of making this happen for everyone. Okay. All right. Well,
Okay,
thank you everyone for your questions and comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back when we return. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow night. I will try, but let's see. I can't make any promises right now. Okay, but definitely on Sunday.
okay.
Definitely on Sunday. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye bye.